And hi everyone, Ayush, thank you so much for this walkthrough. Join NANDA in the waitlist. So yeah, my name is Maria. I'm going to walk you through creating a communication agent and a context agent. So let's first start with creating a communication agent. You've seen this website, join.projectnanda.org. So as you can see, you already can create join the waitlist, and you can see your agent card as Ayush described. Now, if you want to create your communication agent, you click on create your profile. You can enter your full name, your email address. You can choose your username, and it has to be unique. So secure it early. And then about yourself, you can just type whatever you want, or you can, copy and paste from your resume. Or let's say, I have a website here, so I can just, copy the information from there. Or you can also copy from LinkedIn. So whatever you want, there's no limit on, how much text you can add. So the more, the better. Then you just click on create your profile, and you can see this is me. I just joined. So first of all, what I get is my own unique page. So this is my chat page with my unique name. And in fact, you can send it to your friends, to your family, or even, post it on LinkedIn. So, it's a kind of like a great way for people to get to know you without just looking at your resume, but more with talking to you. Now, let's say, what do I want to know about myself? What are your interests? And then my communication agent basically replies for me and is able to answer some questions. Okay. It is context aware, so all these messages are saved, and in the future you'll be able to actually see, everyone who talks to your agent, what they ask, what the agent replies, to make sure it's all accurate. And yeah, so this way, again, you can create your own agent. You can send it to your friends, you can chat with yourself, you can add a lot of information. So there's a lot you can do with it. And then you can also see other agents. So for example, if I want to talk with Ayush's agent, I'm able to also do that. What did you go to school? So it's again a great way to upload a lot of information and then ask only questions that you're interested in, including follow-up questions. All right, so yeah, encourage everyone to go here, create your agent, secure your name, and then secure your URL, and send it to everyone and have fun. All right, now going to the next slide. I'm going to show you how to create a context agent via Model Context Protocol. So specifically, here are the steps. This is an overview. You're going to have to go to this GitHub repo and clone it. You have to customize the code with your company's information. I'll show you how to do it, and also there are detailed instructions in the README. Then you'll be able to run and test it locally with Inspector, and there's also a test file. Then you'll have to push it to your own GitHub repo and very easily deploy to Railway. It can be Vercel, it can be any other platform, it can be AWS. It's just, this specific example is showing you how to deploy it on Railway with one click. But again, once you have the code, you can do whatever you want with it. And then final step would be how to register your agent on the NANDA registry. So it's discoverable, and all other agents can talk to you, ask information. It's going to be discoverable via agentic web. Okay, so let's go to the repo. So here's the repo. Please take a moment to go here. It's in our AI decentralized group. It's called Hackathon. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep it up for a little bit so everyone has time to see it. It was also sent via Luma Blast yesterday. So if you don't want to type it manually, you can go and click on it. Once everyone done that, you can just follow detailed README, and I'm gonna share my other screen and walk you through how to do it. Okay, I see it in the chat. Yeah, let me. So I just sent it in the Zoom chat, the GitHub URL. So please go there. All right, so the first thing I want to do is I want to clone it. Then I want to go to this directory. And please send in chat if I'm, too fast, too slow. I'm going to try to keep the chat open so I'm able to see your questions as well. All right, so as you can see, you cloned it. And first thing you do is,
Maria, I think folks are asking to slow down slightly. So,
oh, okay. Yeah, this is a great feedback. All right, yeah, so
Maria,
I'll just,
maybe you want to give more context about the previous steps also, just to like maybe show a couple of slides and walk people through like exactly what they're doing, because I think people might be missing out on some context.
yes, absolutely. So, yeah, let me open this. So the first thing you do is, you clone the GitHub repo. So let me know if you can send in the chat if you're able to see this.
Just to confirm, is the first step like comfortable with everybody? You know exactly how to make your own like communication agent and make it discoverable, because like we'll sort of start sending out like logins, and we'll sort of start by like prioritizing that sequence. We'll sort of everybody who has a communication agent will send you out like login details soon enough with like your own agent SDK to self-host your agents, so that you can like start participating in the chat. So we just want to make sure that you know how to start getting the agents working.
Yeah, right. This is the first step. So again, it's join.projectnanda.org. Super simple form. Should we let everyone do it right now, the next 5 minutes, or do you want to ask people to do it after this call?
let's give people about 1 to 2 minutes to sign up onto this. In the meantime, maybe you can, maybe you can open up the agents page. I think a lot of people have already signed up.
Mm-hmm.
We can show them.
Yeah,
So,
amazing. Yeah, I can see more
Yeah.
people. So
yeah, and like for people who have signed up already, you can start to look at the hackathon GitHub file. So that is how like you'll have to do a bit more programming on that end to sort of build and host your own Nanda, host your own like context agents into the Nanda registry. So yeah, I mean that will show you how to build a very simple MCP. But Maria has set up like she's done a lot of effort and set up like a default MCP you can build. But yeah, I mean if you've got more time and you're done with step one, you can like try to get like more like fancy with it and build out like a more like personalized and smarter MCP context agent for yourself.
yep, thank you so much, Ayush. But yeah, so please take your time to really quickly create your profile, so you can secure your name and your link and make yourself discoverable. You can
So,
also,
sorry, just to reiterate, Maria, once more. Oh, sorry, my camera's off. Yeah. Everything you do over here. So we've talked about 3 different types of agentic entities today on the call, right? So I showed you the chat app. Maria here is showing these communication agents or these sort of self-described agents. And Maria will also talk about context agents, which will be some kind of MCP servers that you'll use, that you'll host, and that can be talked to via the chat app. All of these entities are communicatable and sort of discoverable via the Nanda quilt of registries. So if you sign up to this page that Maria is screen sharing right now, this will automatically block your name on the Nanda quilt of registries, and then you'll get access to Nanda chat shortly. So just keep that mental model in mind as you are going through with the subsequent steps that Maria will run you through. Over to you, Maria. Thank
yeah, thank you, Pradumna. Okay, yes. So yeah, I see a lot more people signing up. So for example, we can again experiment and ask people their background. And again, feel free to share this with people. There's no limit. Anyone can create an agent and be discoverable. All right. So I think a lot of people already kind of registered here. If you're still registering, please take your time, or again, go to this URL after this call and create your profile after. So just for the sake of time, I'm going to go to the next step, which is creating a context agent. So the context agent is an agent built with MCP protocol. So it's going to be discoverable here in the tools, and you'll be able to upload it here after you build it and deploy it. Now I'm going to, again, go over kind of like slowly and teaching you how to create an MCP agent and deploy it on Railway. Yeah, again, I'm gonna have a chat open, so if I'm going too fast or too slow, just let me know. I'm happy to answer any questions on how to do it. Just gonna share my screen again with the code. All right, so the first step you do is you clone this repo. So please let me know if you have done so. Maybe someone can write in the chat if you were able to clone it successfully. All right, so amazing. I see some people already done that. Okay, great. So then the next step would be to install dependencies very easily. And again, I'm just following the README. So if you're lost, just read the README and it has very clear instructions on how to do it. Okay, after that, let's see some important files that we need to change for you to customize. So this is basically an example Starbucks context agent that is designed to answer questions about Starbucks. So let's go to source and to index TypeScript. This is the most important file. As you can see here, we have name Starbucks. You can change it to, your business. If it's like a nonprofit or it's a service business, it's a startup, just change the name. And then again, the description is pretty basic. It's about Starbucks, but you can add any description. And there are also focus areas, stage, approach, website, contact, and network. Again, this is pretty basic, but you can customize it to be anything. So if you don't want to share website or contact, you can delete it. Or you can add some areas, or if you want to add like a spreadsheet or some numbers information, again, you're able to do so. Again, customize it as much as you want, but this is again very basic description of a context agent that can answer with real information from Starbucks. Okay, see, this is another thing you need to customize. So the name, the easiest thing to do is just search Starbucks, and everywhere where you see Starbucks, just know that you're going to have to change it to your own company. So there again, just a few fields, not too many. So it shouldn't take you too long to customize it. And again, please start doing this now. I'm going to give you, I think, 5 minutes to do it. Again, for now, you can just do placeholder. So if you're talking about your company, just go on your website and just take, some description from there. But yeah, another thing you need to customize is package JSON file. So here, again, you can see that you need to change the name and description, maybe keywords as well. And of course, the author, it's me, but it's gonna, you're gonna be the author there. And finally, you can customize the name here as well. So again, the easiest part would be to just search where Starbucks is and just change everything to your name and description. I'm gonna give you 5 minutes to do so, and if you have any questions, please write in the comments, and I'm gonna try to answer all of them. Yeah, you can make it a personal MCP server, so it doesn't need to be a company. In fact, it can be anything. So it can be your company, it can be like just a random company, it can be yourself. It's just you will have to edit a few fields. So for example, here, instead of website, I mean, you can include your personal website, but just either change, the fields or just change the context. This is a very basic structure. So all this MCP server does is just tells you what information it has, right? So the information can be pretty much anything. It can be general information. It can be information about yourself. It can be public. It can be private data. You can upload a spreadsheet. You can connect it to the database. You can even have you can have an LLM answering those questions. So it's completely up to you what you want to do. Again, just remember, so if you're changing any fields, you're going to have to change some other code down below. So if you want to make it as simple as possible, just stick to the template and just change, everything that has Starbucks description to your personal description or your company description. I assume we should npm install. Yes. So as you can see here, the first command I did after cloning the repo is npm install to install the dependencies. So again, do this first and then just, change any information here. All right. Once you are done with this, please let me know in the chat, and so I can know if we can move further or not. Next step would be to just running this, testing it, and then deploying it on Railway. Sounds good. I see people are still installing the dependency, so please take your time. And yeah, let me know if you have any questions. Someone asked what's the link for the profile registration. I just sent it in chat, so you can see it. All right, can anyone share their status? Were you able to install the dependencies? Are you in the process of changing the company information? Again, can anyone send it in chat what the status is? Is there okay, Michael is saying, is there a list of all the changes that need to be made in the code? I don't want to miss any. Yep. So you can see here in the README, there is a detailed things that you need to change. So you need to change here in the JSON file, this, and this. Then you need to change in source and index TypeScript, everything here. And then this is the third file you need to change. And that's pretty much it. So there are not that many changes. Again, the easiest way is to just search Starbucks and make sure that there's no reference of that anymore. But the most important change is again in the index TypeScript file, because this is basically where your main information lies. And also there's a checklist. So hackathon checklist. So all the required changes you can see here. If you updated the name, description, author. Again, changing the author name is not going to break your code. It's just going to say it's Maria. But here's everything you need to change. Website, network, stage. Again, I would just encourage you from deleting any of those fields right now, just because then you have to delete them in the place below. But just, change the context. And then server name. And that's about it. Yeah, cursor simplifies that a lot. Another thing, again, you just can ask cursor, say, oh, this is an example with Starbucks. Can you please research my company or myself and just edit everything so it's all about me and not Starbucks? And I think cursor is gonna do it easily. And you can also ask cursor to read the README and hackathon checklist, so it has context. Yep, given cursor website is great. Again, just review the changes, so make sure that it's only changing the context and not any logic here. Again, it's okay to change the logic. You can, this is a very basic MCP server. You can add a database. You can add like an LLM here. You can add more information, less information. It's just for this call. The less changes you make, the better. But then after this call, if you wanted to spend a few hours just adding a lot other stuff, it will work as well very well. The idea is that context agents, can do a lot of different things. So they don't just give you context about the company, but they'll also be able to help you give you some, company details. So for example, if you have like inventory of stuff, or you have specific services or products, or you are able to, give quotes to people. For example, you're a contractor, right? And you are given quotes for your service, then you can also like make it a logic. So every time my agent asks your context agent about, what services can you provide for how much, we can make it so your agent, gives me the correct data and also maybe even negotiates with me.
Maria,
Just
there's one more thing. So there is a question in the Q&A about from Eric. He's saying, what if he changes the port from 3000 in the MCP client config? Will you have to change something in Railway also for that, or it'll be all good?
Yeah, you'll have to change something in Railway. So again, I would disencourage you to doing this just for this hack. But technically, yeah, you can change it in the future. Because Railway basically already has a Railway configuration with standard port. Yeah. Okay, so someone is already running it. Can you guys give me some status update? Again, were you able to change everything? Were you able to install the dependencies? Where are we at? Does the name field in the package JSON have to match your own agent name? No, so it doesn't have to be your personal name. So this is a context agent, meaning it's pretty separate from your communication agent. So your communication agent is basically like your personal assistant, while context agent can be your company, it can be you. If you're offering any services, it can be anyone. So it's pretty separate, so you don't have to you don't have to make them match. Okay, someone is changing details still, and then what is everyone's go-to model and cursor? Yeah, I like Claude, so Claude 4 is amazing. The, All right, once everyone is done with the steps, again, please take your time to update some information. The next steps would be to do npm run build. And hopefully it builds. Again, if you just edited, context here, it shouldn't give you any issues. If there are any issues, you probably edited something else, so you can troubleshoot with cursor pretty easily. Let me see. Yeah. Okay, build successful, amazing. So this is a good sign. And then you can just do npm start to start it locally. So as you can see, your MCP endpoint now is on localhost 3000/MCP, and then you can check the health here. And transport, we're using streamable HTTP. It's the most up-to-date transport for model context protocol. And it works the best for now. All right, so then we're gonna go to the new terminal. So I open the new terminal and I just do npm test, which runs the test script. I need to go to cd hackathon first and then npm test. Basically runs the test script and tests if your MCP server is accessible, which it is. So basically, as you can see, what it gave me is a lot of information. So it said connecting to Starbucks MCP server, then it connected successfully, and it's testing all categories. So it got me an overview of Starbucks on focus area, investment details, gave me contact information for Starbucks, and so on. So if this test is fast, then you're great, you're good to go, and you're good to deploy your context agent. Another way you can also test it is with MCP inspector. So I'm not sure if many of you guys already tried it, but basically you just run this command. It's in README, npx model context protocol /inspector, and you're able to open the URL here. Let me share my screen again. Yep. So this is how inspector looks like. And you're able to connect through your local host, and then you'll be able to list tools, request info, and you'll be able to see everything about Starbucks. So again, if this works, then your MCP server is functional, and all you need to is deploy it. Again, you don't need to do MCP inspector and the test because we already wrote test script, so it's easier for you. These are just the 2 steps that you can take. All right, I'm gonna stop here before the final step, which is deployment, and answer any questions you have in the chat. And once you
Maria,
guys,
do you want to just spend maybe take like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, just let people like work through the step?
steps of deploying or?
No, no, just the build steps, just to see like if everybody is good with that.
Yes, absolutely. So actually, let me open the README then. Here. All right, I see up and works locally. Amazing. You can change the name. Amazing. I see in the chat. Right. So again, let me walk you through all the steps. Clone the repo, install the dependencies. Shouldn't be any issues there. Once you're done that, here are the exact changes you need to do. Name, change the description, and change your company name here in the keywords. And this is just a package JSON file, which is very important because it's like your card for your context agent. Then you're going to go to the source directory in the index TypeScript. You're going to see your company information, which is basically the most important file for your agent's logic, and it has all the data. So again, reminder, just change the name. So it can be a Starbucks, it can be Maria Gorski, it can be your startup, it can be pretty much anything. Again, this server just gives you the information. So whatever information, maybe even if you have some knowledge about your research or hobby, you can also include it here. Then you can have a description of the server or your company, focus areas, stage, approach, network, website, and contact. Again, this is not mandatory for the agent. So not all agents should have those fields. This is more just like this specific example, which is structured. But in reality, again, you can make any fields that you want. If you don't want a website, you can remove it in the future. Or if you want to add like a database or access to your API, you would add it here. Then there's this file, again, change the server name very easily. And then in the examples directory, in the configuration file, also just change your company here. So again, there are not that many changes. You can also see the checklist. I believe it's this is testing.
Okay, Maria, there's a couple of questions in chat.
Yeah.
So Gautam has a question saying MCP inspector isn't working. It says invalid or missing session ID, but the local tests are working. So can he talk to and test his MCP inspector to his MCP server via the MCP inspector?
Yeah, so basically MCP inspector and testing are basically doing the same thing. So if your local tests work, that means your MCP server is all right. MCP inspector, you download it directly from
Can you show the website, like where they can set it up and download it from? Because they might be able to talk to their MCP server and like send questions and see responses through
yes,
the.
it's not MCP inspector is not necessarily a website. So it's basically a command that you run. So here, for example, let me go here. So you need to open a new terminal and you just need to download this thing. So Model Context Protocol Inspector. Maybe the reason it's not working is you have like an older version. It happened to me a few weeks before where just inspector wouldn't work. They also made a lot of changes on it, so now it's better. So if the inspector doesn't work, it's not that big of a deal because as long as your tests, you're passing your tests that we wrote, it should be fine. But this is the command that you enter in your terminal and you'll be able to open your inspector. So let me do it again actually with here. So as you can see, I ran the command, testing command. Yeah, so all I had to do is npx at model context protocol /inspector. It started my inspector on this URL. Then I follow it, and then I'm able to connect to my local MCP server. So if it's not working, you probably have different version of it. But once I open it, it looks something like this. So then you can make sure your server is running on localhost 3000 MCP. So you do this after you build and start. And then all you do is connect. So once it says connected, means it's reachable. Make sure the transport type is streamable HTTP and not SSE or Studio. Ignore authentication. And pretty much, again, all you need to do is streamable HTTP, enter URL, and it's connected. Then you'll be able to see list tools. There's only one tool, which is request info. And again, you can also just do overview here, run tool, and you can see the overview. You can do focus, run tool, and you can see focus areas. Or you can actually just not say anything and you're going to see all the information that you entered here. Right now it's about Starbucks. Again, if your inspector doesn't open, it doesn't mean your MCP server is broken. It just means that you probably have some old version of the MCP repo. Okay, let me read some questions. Yeah, so don't do SSE transport, do streaming HTTP. Change URL from default to, yep, so URL should be localhost 3000/MCP, super important. NPM test fails. So the reason is if your NPM test fails, I think most probably you changed some fields like this. So again, if you deleted like a website field or contact field, the reason it might fail is because it just, you also need to delete it from here. So again, that's why I said focus on just replacing the parts, like just the context, not actually specific focus areas. Okay, let me see some other comments. Chat. Okay, you go to inspector. Yep, this seems like the right URL. So don't change the website URL. No, you can change the website URL, so you can change this part. It's just I wouldn't delete the field right away. Just again, for the sake of the time, so we are all on the same page. Just keep, the original. If you already deleted some of those fields and you want to bring them back, just do another pull from the GitHub repo. And again, everything should work. And also, if you just want to test it, if it's not working, again, just pull from the GitHub. And you see, I didn't make any changes and it worked for me. So you can just test how it works for you, deploy it, and then after this call, you can have a deeper dive and change some fields there. Okay, so can everyone tell me if they have it, their MCP server passed all the tests? Okay, I see your, okay, great. So Arpit, I think you're all good. Your MCP server is running, passed, looking good here. All right, I think we're all on the great page. All right, now the next step would be you need to go to your GitHub and create a repo. I hope everybody knows how to do that. Let me share my screen. All right, so again, go to your GitHub repo, create a repository, public or private, it doesn't matter. And then once you get the URL, just push this code to your GitHub. So for example, when you do this is let's have a new terminal here. And then you do git remote set URL origin. And this is my new URL that I just created. It's called context agent. Okay. Let's see. Okay. So now set my origin. Now I do just git add mend, should be fine. And then finally git push your origin main. And yep. So now my local code is on my new GitHub repo. So once you do that, please tell me in chat. Should be pretty straightforward. Again, create a new repository on your own account. It can be public or private, and then do those 3 commands. So git remote set URL origin with your URL, git add, and then git push origin main. It should be all set pretty easily. Okay, let me open the chat. I'll also put those commands just in case in the Zoom chat. All right, once you do that, let me know. So as you can see, it was pushed successfully. So this is my new repo. It's called context agent. It can be anything you want. And I can see that I have all the files here. So the reason we pushed to GitHub is because when we connect it with Railway, it's super simple to just connect Railway account to your GitHub account, and then you can just deploy from the repo directly. See in the chat, all set here. Amazing, Luisa, great job. I'll wait for a few more amazing texts like that, and then we can go to our final step, which is creating your Railway account and connecting it to with Git and just deploying it. So for the Railway, just let me send you the link for creating your Railway account. If you haven't done that, creating a Railway account is super easy. I would just say log in with Git, and there's a free plan. So you actually don't even, I think, have to pay right away. So you can deploy your agent very, very easily. Again, you don't have to use Railway if you prefer Heroku, or if you prefer Vercel or AWS and you're comfortable with them, just do that. Again, this specific tutorial and template is for Railway, but again, whatever you prefer, the idea is you take the code and now you can deploy it anywhere. Yep. All right, so I'll wait for everyone. Just let me know if you have any questions. Okay, so let me answer some questions. This says invalid or missing session ID. Make sure it's make sure your localhost is running. Are you testing it on the inspector? Make sure again it's not like your port was already taken and now you're running on port 3001. Say troubleshoot it like that. Lisa, thank you for your feedback. Okay, so it's done. Hmm. Gautam, thank you so much for helping responding to those questions. Yep, so again, follow the steps here. Okay, so you clone the repo, remember npm install should be the first step, shouldn't cause you any issues. After you do npm install, do run build, again, don't skip this step, do npm start, do npm test, this runs test. Again, if you pass the test, that means it's all good and your MCP server is working. If not, again, Model Context Protocol Inspector is another option. Okay. I have to change to 3002 because I have my own code running in 3000 and 3001. Again, if you can, just empty the port and run it in 3000. If you can't, I think there are some other things that you'll need to change in the code in order for you to be able to test it on 3002. All right, so let's go to the final step. Because I know we only have 10 minutes left. So, right, so let's go to Railway. So go to railway.com. Again, not saying you have to use Railway for deployment. This is just my preferred method of deploying things easily, but you can use whatever you're comfortable with. So after you push it to GitHub, it should be working fine. Then you create an account on Railway. Then you create a new project. So for example, this is my dashboard. I create a new project, deploy from GitHub repo, and you can see I already connected with GitHub. If I'm not connected, then you're able to just, log in with your GitHub and it should be very easy. But I can see all my repos here. So this is my context agent repo that I just created for this workshop. And as you can see, it's connecting directly to my repo and it's just starting to build and deploy right away. So let's see how quickly it will build. Hopefully it's going to build successfully and deploy it. But yeah, I didn't touch anything. You don't need to do any configuration. All you need to do is create an account, connect it to your GitHub profile, and choose this repo, and it should do everything for you. Super simple. So as you can see, it's building. Anyone else is getting a 404 when connecting to GitHub. In fact, I actually did experience some Railway issues in the morning with that. I wasn't sure if it's my GitHub connection or it was Railway. If that happens, try to create an account with your email, or maybe refresh to another tab. It might be again Railway issue or GitHub issue, so we'll see. Yeah, Railway has issues. Okay, yeah, this is not great. So actually this morning I was also panicking because I couldn't log in with my GitHub, so I thought maybe it was me. But again, I was able to log in with my email, so it should be working. Okay, Railway has an auth issue with GitHub, but it's back online now. Okay, amazing. Yeah, so email for sure should work because I already did it. And also, I think GitHub connection should work. If it's not, again, you can try it later. I'm sure Railways is on it right now. But good news, you can see it deployed in just 72 seconds. Actually, I think it was like a minute. And now, I can access it here. And yeah, so it's working. I have the working URL and I'm able to use it. So again, this is not like a web app, so we're not seeing any front end, but basically anyone can use this link to call it. So the other reason I like Railway is you can customize your URL pretty easily. So for example, you can have a custom domain if you want to buy one, but if not, you can also edit here. So for example, you can do this server. Now, this is my unique link. Now what I'm going to do for the final step is I'm going to go to the join.projectnanda.org website. I'm gonna go to the tools page and very easily upload an MCP server. Again, server name can be anything. Since it's a Starbucks MCP server, I can just call it Starbucks. Again, the simpler the better. We shouldn't have too many names, so if Starbucks is available, I think I'm gonna take it. Endpoint URL doesn't matter, but you should add MCP in the end, because usually that's how you're able to connect. So if you can see like MCP, even on localhost, it was localhost 3000/MCP. Yeah, and that's about it. So now MCP server is uploaded successfully. Now people who have access to the NANDA chat are able to ask it questions and use it, ask about your company, ask about yourself, or whatever else you want. And yeah, that's about it. All right, I'm gonna answer any questions in the chat right now. For people who can't finish following along, can you share the next set of instructions from the point where we create context agent? Yes, so the instructions are in the README. I think it's very detailed instructions. And then again, Railway, deploying on Railway doesn't really need instructions because all you need to do is connect it with your GitHub repo and deploy it straight away. As you can see, I didn't even enter any information. I was just able to deploy it right away. Railway already kind of sees the code and understands what other things it needs to add. I created an account with Google, still can connect to GitHub. Yeah, so that's probably a Railway issue. I was experiencing issues in the morning with it. I'm sure they're gonna fix it soon, so you can always do it later. And if not, you can also try deploying on AWS or any other deployment provider, server provider. Not in this tutorial. I think we should end the session soon. But again, just wanted to show you how simple it is to, create your context agent, deploy it, and add it to the NANDA registry. Is there validation or verification before registering MCP? Yes, so the test, NPM test that you ran, if it was successful, it's valid. Also, inspector, again, if you're able to connect it with the inspector and list tools and ask questions right here, then it's gonna work. And I also tested mine after deployment, and it works. So as long as it passes one or two of these, it should be fine. For registering Ananda, yes. So again, once you register here, it's added to our registry, our database. So it should be fine. Then, all right. So again, I think I talked a little bit too fast. So when you have your working URL for your context agent, you can just go to join.projectnanda.org to servers. I'm gonna send the QR code. I'm gonna send the link right here. And here you can see this button that says upload your MCP server. You just click on here and yeah, just choose a name. Again, the simpler, the better. And the more clear it is, the better. So I would just encourage you from, having like long names. Again, just Starbucks is easy. And then the endpoint URL should end on MCP. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah. Where you create a new GitHub. Oh, okay. So one more question, Maria. I'm asking about the steps where you create a new GitHub repo with context agent. I don't see the instructions in README. Yes. So I mean, they're here. So basically, push to your own GitHub repo. I can update the README so it has those 3 commands that I did, and then deploy to Railway. Again, there are no commands or no changes to the code that you need to do. You literally just have to go to railway.com, create an account, and click on deploy. But I will update the README with those instructions just so everyone is clear on how to do that. Sorry, Ayush, you were saying something?
No, I was just responding to a few messages. Yeah.
Okay. All right, that was easy. We'll wait for railway issues to be fixed before deploying. Amazing. Thank you so much. Yeah, so railway is, again, also this morning, it happens. They're going to resolve it. I was able to deploy it still because I logged in with my education email, but I had an account before, so maybe that's why it worked for me. So if you've never used Railway before, maybe the good thing would be to just wait until they fix their issues. And yeah, Vercel is fine, Heroku is fine, AWS, basically anything is gonna work great. This is a very simple code, so you don't actually need to add any variables, like anything like that. So it should work just fine. Mm-hmm. Just
I think so. To answer Arpit's question, which is the question I think a lot of people may have. So Nanda registry is meant to have like more like persistent agents. So the Nanda agent SDK that we'll share with you next week is about building persistent agents. So a lot of the agents that you build with Crew AI or LangChain or Google ADK tend to be transient agent, which means that you can build a bunch of them, do some like ad hoc processing, and then it sort of goes away. But with Nanda, because we have like more persistent agents that can run over like secure SSL certified HTTPS connections, and you can like they're always on, they can always do chat, and that's slightly different. So in principle, you could use Crew AI or LangChain or Google to build an agent, but if you want to host it, you would want to still like wrap it inside the Nanda SDK to make it more persistent. For example, right now, when we'll first share the Nanda SDK with you, we'll just use like bare bones like the Anthropic API to build like a very simple Claude agent, but you can do more sophisticated stuff and then wrap it with our API so that it stays at a persistent endpoint and can be discovered. Does that answer your question? Because I thought a lot of people might have that question. But yeah, so I'll quickly share my screen now, like before we end. And just to give you a quick sense of what your user experience will look like with these MCP servers once you get onboarded onto the Nanda chat. Okay. So essentially what I will be able to do now is I can just go here and basically answer this kind of a question saying, yeah, I mean, I just typed it a few minutes ago. So if I want to now share about this MCP server with Pradyumna, I can just ask this question saying, at the Starbucks MCP server inside the Nanda registry, how many stores are there worldwide? I ask this question. Pradyumna's agent so my agent talks to the MCP Starbucks server, gets a response back. I can just paste this response and read this. And I just send this message to Pradyumna. So the message that Pradyumna will now get is that, yeah, okay. Okay, so the agent, yeah, got a bit confused. Yeah, maybe I'll send it to Maria instead. Maybe I want to send it to Ramesh. So I'll just do. Yep, maybe we should have cleared chat history. Exactly. So then I can just essentially use the context agent built with MCP protocol to talk to Starbucks MCP, figure out a way to identify, just ask how many stores there are worldwide. And then I use my communication agent to send a message to Ramesh to say, here is what I learned from Starbucks MCP server. So you can have these like hybrid conversations across the MCP protocol in the purple chat and the A2A protocol in the blue chat down there, all through like the sort of the Nanda chat platform. And thanks. This is just to give you a feel for the user experience on what it will look like. And also to reiterate the fact that when we're talking about Nanda, we're talking about like persistent agents. So these agents stay persistently there. Like they're always there, always in conversations. They can talk to a lot of different sources. This is different from the kind of agents you'll generally build with like LangChain, Crew AI, which may not have a persistent endpoint always provided to them. So thank you. And we can take questions now. And yeah, we'll share the slides. We'll send it out to everybody over email. And I mean, if you had a good time, yeah, please do stay in touch with the community. Do add yourself to the Google Sheets.
Yeah, I just shared the link.
Awesome. Yeah. And yeah, and I mean, we'll put out a post on LinkedIn. So if you had a good time, you should just like repost it, share your experience, maybe share your like communication agent that's always online so that you can like people can start to chat with you. Can you remember how to return to a chat instance? Okay. Also, your chat instance, Eric, is already hosted online. If you mean the context chat that you first built. And we don't have an option to edit it right now. It's sort of like high up there on the development priority list. And we'll give you that very quickly. But it's right next to the chat button. If you go to the UI, I can just share my screen and quickly show that. So if you see the screen, this button allows me to chat with you, but this button just allows me to copy your personal name. So this is the copy the chat link. So this is sort of your personal agent. So yeah, I mean, you should like post on LinkedIn, just share this personal agent. For instance, like this is my agent. So yeah, if you would want to chat with me, you can just go to this URL. And yep, thank you.
Awesome. I'll just
Endpoint is not endpoint is no, it's not in so it's not an A2A agent because it doesn't work as an A2A server yet. But basically, this endpoint that you receive, all the content that's there will become like an A2A agent soon enough when we'll sort of transfer you to the chat experience and it'll become A2A compliant. Yes.
Yeah, so I think just to tie everything in Ayush and Maria that you guys have so nicely explained today, uh, you saw sort of these personal agents that you built that Ayush was just describing, which is just an individual agentic entity that's registered on the registry. What you built for the large part today was a context agent via MCP, which also you will register on the registry. And then Ayush demonstrated to you at the end how you can talk to these agents by indexing them via the chat. And we also have communication personal agents that can talk to each other via A2A. So just goes to show all the different types of agentic entities that can exist out there on the Nanda registry. Important thing to note is the registry itself is agnostic to whatever kind of communication protocol, whatever type of sort of whatever protocols that the agents are built with or talk with. It does not matter for the agents. uh, for the registry, you can host anything, as Irish mentioned, with a public endpoint on the registry. Uh, Only when it comes to the handshake and actually talking with each other, the agents need to take care of the communication protocol, which is what the chat platform does. And so, yeah, and that'll be sort of what the registry enables, the handshake basically. Great. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. There'll be some segments of this session on recording that will be going up on the Nanda Project Nanda YouTube channel. Let me take this opportunity to say something that I've never said in my life, but I'll share a channel and ask you to like and subscribe. Just a second. Uh, Project Nanda. So like and subscribe to this YouTube channel, and you should have videos from this session, videos from a previous session, videos from our future sessions, everything up there. Uh, this may be redundant for this group because you found this event via the Luma, but please track all our, please subscribe to this Luma page as well, and you'll be able to get notifications on all our future events. As those of you who have tracked Nanda would know very well, we have these events basically on uh, multiple times a week type basis. So subscribe to all of these pages so that you don't miss out. Uh, Thank you so much for the art for joining in. And as Ayush had touched upon briefly earlier, we'll be having uh, so very important to note that MCP type agents are not the only type of context agents that Nanda supports. As I mentioned to you, we'll be having soon a session on NL Web from Microsoft and creating those context agents via Nanda. Those of you who have created the personal chat type agents today will be hearing from us about onboarding to the chat platform soon and doing all those kinds of communications with MCP and A2A and all that stuff. And as Ayush also mentioned, today this was an introductory session. So you had like a very sort of constrained template to build MCP servers and personal agents. This was by design, but we'll also be introducing you to the Nanda Agent SDK so that you can build your own agents on the registry and talk with them. So there are three components that are decoupled, and this should be your mental model as you understand Nanda. We have the registry, which can basically host anything with a public endpoint and makes it identifiable and discoverable. We have the agent names, which you all sign up to via the join page. And this will be like your name. So sign up fast because names are common and people want to take up names. So sign up for that. And then there's the chat application, which uses these entries on the registry and uses a subset of the entities on the registry to build this cool application on top of it. So three components, sign up for all three, use all three, and we'll see you soon on another session. Thank you so much.